Last weekend's UFC event was one of the crazier ones that we've seen all year, mainly because there were a lot of underdog upsets and favorites fumbling the bag. Even on the main card, 4 of the 5 underdogs ended up pulling off the upset. Some of big underdogs as well, including Kevin Holland, who ended up losing to Daniel Rodriguez in one of the crazier fights of the night. And I felt like he was one of the safest spots on the entire card. And I think a lot of people would have shared my sentiment in regards to that. But we end up having to fumble and rip up our Locky two-step and Locky Trinity ticket there. I did have Vinicius Oliveira as the other leg in the Locky two-step, but again, with Kevin Holland messing things up for us there, we have to rip up our ticket and hopefully lean on this weekend's parlay to try to get us back into that win column. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First leg up for this UFC Abu Dhabi Locky two-step is going to be Carlos Leal, who's going up against Muslim Salikov. Leal obviously has a big youth advantage here, not to mention power. I think he'll be able to walk down the 42-year-old, 41-year-old Muslim Salikov, land his big shots, land his combinations. He might have to eat a few in return, but I think it's just a matter of time before he lands that big shot on Salikov and puts his lights out clean. Hence why I feel so confident in terms of putting him as the first step in the Locky two-step. The second step is going to be Nikita Krylov, who's going up against Bogdan Guskov, and I think that Krylov has the perfect grappling style to nullify and muzzle the power punching approach of Bogdan Guskov. Guskov has shown issues with grapplers in the past, even in fights that he ended up winning, but I think Krylov has a good enough gas tank and wrestling capabilities to keep Guskov on his back, keep him in bad positions, either grind that fight out or eventually find a submission. But I trust Krylov to put him into this Locky two-step, especially at the number that he's at. I got him around minus 190. He's hovering over minus 200 right now, but earlier in the week, when I locked in this parlay and dropped it for the Patreon folks, they were able to lock it in at minus 120 with a little bit of action coming in on Krylov. That now pushes this parlay to minus 126. If you want to complete the Locky Trinity, we're going to go to the main event. We're going to go with Robert the Reaper Whittaker, who's looking to derail the hype train of Renier de Ridder, who just snatched the O from Bo Nickal's loss column, or was able to give him that first loss there. But I think Whittaker has the chops to cause de Ridder a ton of trouble. I think people mainly remember the Kevin Holland and Renier de Ridder fights, the Kevin Holland and the Bo Nickal fights for Renier de Ridder, but they forget about all the issues and trouble that he found himself in the Gerald Mearshart and other fights as well. I think Whittaker has good enough wrestling defense and takedown defense to stay away from de Ridder's grappling approach, and that will allow Whittaker to really pick him apart on the feet, utilizing his speed advantage, his striking advantage. Don't think that de Ridder's a great striker because of what he did to Bo Nickal. Bo Nickal's not a striker. Whittaker is, and Whittaker will make him pay for all that, some of the mistakes that he makes in his aggressive striking approach. And I think Whittaker will take advantage of it, counter him, and then eventually put him away cleanly, probably in the second, third, or fourth round. Now, I was able to lock in this 3-leg parlay at plus 216 earlier this week, but there's been a ton of love coming in on Robert Whittaker. He started the week roughly around minus 200, dropped to minus 138, which is the number that I got on him when I put him into this parlay, and now he's back up to that minus 170-ish range. So like I said, I got plus 216 on this parlay earlier in the week. Now you're looking at plus 188. Still playable, in my opinion, still worthy of a shot, and I'm hoping come next week we can talk about how we cash this parlay for you guys. Both of them, the Locky two-step and the Locky Trinity. All right, that's a wrap on this free parlay for you guys. I'll be back tomorrow for the UFC Abu Dhabi prop drop. See you guys then. Peace.